We know the Canaries are flying high, but can we utter the word promotion? We're going to ask this lot their thoughts on it. Welcome back to Our Canaries Walk. We are reviewing the whole game, and we're also asking this guys about when is it ever okay to leave a game early, and what's the earliest they've ever left a Norwich City game. We're also talking atmospheres at Carrow Road as well. Welcome to the quickest and most comprehensive review of all things Norwich City on the internet. And to start us off on our social media trawl this week, we want to point out John Gordon Sakers. He says, lovely jubbly, I am enjoying my football again. Gone are the days of sitting back and defending a lead. We're discussing more of that in just 1 second. Oh, Norwich City 4, Hull City 0. It could have been 8, couldn't it, Matty?
It should have, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but it should have been 7 because you've got 4 goals that were scored. You've got Sainz's one-on-one miss, Nunez's miss, Sargent's penalty miss. So on another day, it could have been 7-2 or 7-3. But that's why we love football, isn't it? It was a proper championship game, that one.
Absolutely. Oliver, 4 points from 2 home games against Leeds and Hull. That's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll take that any day. I do not mind that. And I just think that proves that we're up there this season. I'm just feeling so good already.
Okay, Jacob, you are the most reserved person that we speak to in terms of you very, very undramatic, but even you getting a little bit excited?
Yeah, definitely. I think
yes.
Compared to last season. Wait, am I not supposed to be talking?
No, we're asking you whether you're excited or
sorry
not.
About that. Yeah, I think definitely looking better than last season. So we should be fighting for promotion anyway. But these performances really show how good of a manager Hoff Thorup is, and obviously not having to defend 1-0 leads or forcing out a draw against anyone, but comfortably winning games like 4-2 against Watford, 4-0 just earlier. Maybe 3-2 Derby was a bit of a different story, but we'll get past that. It was really good.
Okay. Owen, let's have a look at some of the views, shall we? We've already seen John's. I want to point out, talk about Saints a little bit with you here, Owen, if that's okay, if we can actually see you second. 39 games last season, 8 goals, 2 assists. Already 11 games this season, 8 goals, 2 assists. What is the difference in your little Spaniard this season compared to last, other than the manager?
Maybe it's a bit of flair, or I know you said not the manager, but I think it is mostly the tactics and maybe part of not having Sarah there, sort of taking the spotlight away from him, and he's able to shine and do his own thing.
Has he always been this good, Owen, or is this a player that's just found his confidence this season?
I do think that he stepped it up this season, but there's always been a bit of a spark shown. It's just never been lighted this much.
Okay. Okay. Level with me, guys. Were Hull just that bad, or were you that good? Discuss.
I think they missed a couple of decent chances. I just think I expected that game to be 2-2, 3-3. I just think we stepped up more than they maybe expected, or we were just a better team. I don't think they were terrible, but we were just a better team. I don't know if that's the general consensus amongst you lads.
No, I completely agree with that. I mean, I was expecting a little bit more of a goal threat from Hull, to be honest, but I just think that step up yesterday was just, they couldn't handle it, to be honest, and that's why we got the 4-0 win.
Considering how good Hull City came into the fixture, having won like 3 games in a row, scoring lots of goals, I definitely expected them to score at least like 2. And then Abu Kamara coming on did change it a little bit with his cross into João Pedro, but it got flagged off or something, I believe. But yeah.
Okay. Owen, what about the Leeds game? What did you learn about your side watching that?
I think it was a well-fought draw from Norwich, sort of being able to hold our own against a top side that we all predicted to go up quite easily this season. So, yeah, more stability, I think.
Okay. We haven't yet talked about Fortress Carrow Road too much, but what part of the fans playing, Matty, this season in how well the team are playing? Because we're talking about atmospheres this week because Sunderland, Sheffield United, Leeds, Stoke have all complained about the home crowds this year either being quiet or getting on top of the team. Obviously, when you're winning, it's a lot easier to ask this, but to what extent do you think the home crowd is playing its part?
No, I've been to, as you know, I go to more away games and home games, but I've been to home games this season, and I think it's a big thing is fans buying into something, and I think that's a massive thing is to speak to what Hoff Thorup's doing, not necessarily done, but doing at Carrow Road is that, and Norwich City in general, is that there's a general belief amongst the fans that once we've got Oxford out of the way, which we've spoken about, we don't need to feature too much, but once we've got that out of the way, I kind of feel like the players have responded to his style of play. The fans are being a bit more patient because it was a little bit, I don't want to say toxic at Oxford away that first game, but it was a little bit, I don't know, fans expected us to just go there and win 4-5-0, and that was never going to happen. It was going to take time. And I think the biggest thing that the fans are looking at between last season and this season, and in a positive light, is that Hoff Thorup is not scared to make changes. He makes changes at half time, changes 50, 60 minutes in, which if you go back to our most recently successful manager, Daniel Farker, he was often accused of not having a plan B. He would make changes in 80, 85 minutes. Hoff Thorup's a little bit old school that he'll go, right, that's not working, let's change it. So that's the first thing that I'd identify with. And the second thing is that it's taken a few weeks, but fans are finally clicking that we are going to play maybe slightly riskier football than under Wagner and under Dean Smith, but that the players are eventually now taking that on board, playing, and I've constantly mentioned that, I know, but playing forward passes, progressive football, and we're actually getting to, I mean, one of the goals that we scored yesterday, Sargent's tapping, was unbelievable football. So I think the fans are, learning to be patient, but they're also seeing that the football is so much more better and that the tactical awareness of the coach is so much better than we've had in the last 12, 18, 24 months. Yep.
Oliver, you're nodding your head along with that?
Yeah, I just think everything that was said there was pretty spot on, to be honest. Just sort of willingness of the fans to just get along with the manager. I think that's so important. Like we've seen before with our previous managers when maybe we aren't doing too well and the fans don't really see like there's sort of a plan on the pitch. There's nothing really the football's not making them sort of happy. But now we have this, so the fans are responding in a good way, which is why Carrow Road has been so good this season.
Okay. Well, it's Stoke next, or Stoke away next. We'll preview that on next week's episode. But before we do that, I want to ask you about what's the earliest that you lot have ever left a Norwich game? The reason we're asking this is because so many Sunderland fans missed their the Melier howler having left early. 26 minutes is the earliest we've found so far for a fan leaving a game. So first of all, can any of you beat 26 minutes? Not that bad. What's the earliest you've left? Jacob, Owen?
5 minutes. And that was purely because of a train, because there was like no later trains that day. So
fair enough. Okay, we'll allow that 5 minutes. Owen?
Not maybe 70 minutes in.
Okay. Do you remember the game that was?
It was only in pre-season this year.
Oh, right. Fair enough. Okay.
I try not to leave early.
That doesn't count. Go on, Matty, Oliver. What's the? You remember a time you've left ridiculously early?
10 minutes to go, maybe.
Really?
I left Palace in the League Cup this season, at the end of August. We were 3-0 down. I think we ended up losing 4-0. I left Palace just because there was a few, not football related, because we were decent that night, but it was the tube back to where I live in London was delayed and cancelled and all sorts. So it was a logistical reason rather than a footballing reason.
Fair enough. Ollie?
Yeah, I mean, 80 minutes in, it was Spurs away. We were 3-0 down. Sargent, it was crossing to the box. He just missed his kick. I just thought, that's enough, just go home.
Fair enough. Okay. What's the earliest you've ever left a Norwich match? Comment below. Right, you lot, we'll see you next week to talk about the Alex Neil derby. It's Stoke away at the Better 365. Thank you so much for watching. Drop us a like, drop us a subscribe. We'll see you next week.